Welcome to Deco Guide, the only app designed to help you navigate your college and career journey in the quickest and most affordable way. This podcast is brought to you by EdTechWity, dedicated to opening doors to higher education and career opportunities for all.
What's up, everyone? This is Professor G, and this is another one of those pieces of content that I love doing because we get to expose you to another professional, right? How Adi is a teacher. Adi has been helping kids in Northern California, Sacramento area, learn English for years. And I'm going to let her tell her story. But after that, we're going to dive into how she was also able to take some early college credits through some advanced placement testing and earn some units pretty much for free for her college degree later. So Adi, welcome. Thank you very much for making the time to speak with us today. Why don't you give us a quick little overview about how your education pathway looked like while you were working and living in the Sacramento area?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. So I was born in Sacramento, born and raised, and I went to high school in the San Juan Unified School District. And when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to take several AP classes. So I loved languages, and I took AP Spanish language and AP Spanish literature when I was in high school, junior, senior. I also took AP Calculus, I think it's AP Calculus AB now. And I also took English language, I took English literature and composition as an AP class. So those were the ones.
You're doing a lot of AP.
I did a lot of AP. I did, yeah. And those were the ones I passed. I also took AP Physics, which I did not pass, but I.
Wow.
Still,
so wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
So the audience wants to know. So you took two of the Spanish ones, right?
Yeah.
You took calculus and you took English language AP and passed those.
Yes.
The test, right?
Yes.
Because I want to be clear, audience, is when you're doing AP, you sign up for the class in high school, right? And you got to do the class in high school, and then at the end of the class, you have to take a test. And some people opt out of the test because if you opt out of the test, you don't get any credit. But if you take the test and you pass the test, you earn college and university credit. So you're telling me with those testing, you had at least 12 university units completed, at least, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Before you even got to the university.
Before I even got there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That saved you thousands of dollars.
It saved me an entire quarter. So I finished college an entire quarter early.
That's at least 15 grand in save, at least. Wow. Okay. So 4 AP tests, you actually took 5 the physics. That one sounds super hard.
It's still super difficult. I still think it has a pretty low pass rate, depending on, schools. I don't even think, maybe we do offer it at the school I work at now. I don't know, but yeah, it's a very rigorous test, very difficult.
Wow. Okay, so passing tests means you got a score of a 3, 4, or 5 in the advanced placement examination, and then the universities will credit you whatever credit they can in terms of your pathway. So you were doing these classes, and you were going to high school at San Juan.
I was at El Camino High School in the San Juan district. Yeah.
Got it. And then so eventually you graduate from high school.
Yeah, I graduated from high school. I went straight to UC San Diego out of high school. So I had applied there my senior year. I applied to several colleges and went to go visit them, on breaks from school or on weekends if they were close. And that was one that I was really drawn to. They had like a experience the college weekend where you could go and you could sleep in the dorm with an existing student who agreed to be your guide for the weekend or the time you were there. And it started, I want to say, like on a Thursday. Sorry? Yeah.
Cool.
It was cool. Yeah. So I went to San Diego on a Thursday, and I went around with this girl, I think her name was Kim, to her classes. And then I flew home later, on the Saturday of that weekend. So I was there Thursday, Friday, and went home Saturday. But it gave me a chance to just see what dorm life was like, and see what her classes were like and how big the lectures were and stuff like that. So it was a really cool part of the acceptance for that.
Wow.
For that college.
And after that trip, you were like, I'm coming here.
Yeah. I was like, this is for me.
San Diego, not a bad place to be.
Nope. Yeah, it's temperate all the time, 75, pretty sunny most of the time. So
yeah,
my allergies went away there.
So from Sacramento allergy heaven to San Diego beach heaven. So
Yes.
congrats getting down there. Now, what did you study down at UC San Diego?
I actually wasn't sure what I wanted to do right out of high school, oddly enough. So I did all those AP classes, but I had taken them in such a variety of areas and my interests were so, different that I kind of was still undecided when I got there. But I eventually majored in English literature and creative writing. Mm-hmm. And I think I was kind of already on a path to maybe thinking about being a teacher at that point. Like I kind of already had educators in my family. Like my dad was an educator. And so I think that I was already
geared for that pathway.
Geared for that. I just already had that idea in my head.
And so you're at UC San Diego, and everyone talks about a 4-year degree. Were you able to finish that in the 4 years that you were down there?
Yep, I finished. So UC San Diego's on the quarter system. So you take 10-week, your classes last 10 weeks, and you take 3 or 4 classes in those 10 weeks. So you get to take more than you would take at a semester school because you have a fall, winter, and spring quarter. And so with the APs that I had taken, I actually finished everything in March of like my senior year of college, or my last year of my undergrad. I finished in March when most everybody else finished in June. So
wow.
I had like 3 months of just living and working in San Diego and like kind of figuring out life down there for a little bit.
So those APs did matter. They did matter. They saved you a ton of money. They shrunk the amount of time you had to continuously be enrolled at UC San Diego, and they saved you a quarter. And a quarter, I mean, nowadays a quarter is about $15,000 just in tuition, right? And then that doesn't even include living expenses or anything like that. That's just tuition. So those APs really came in handy. They shrink the amount. So you technically finished in 3.75 years,
something like
as
that,
opposed to 4 years. Right?
Yeah.
And the reality is, everyone that's listening, most people take 4 definitely years, or 5-6 years nowadays to finish your bachelor's degree. And the reason is just because they're trying to do so much more, like 2 jobs, live their life and go to school. They're doing the school a lot slower than they used to. So that's just a heads up that most people now take way over 4 years to finish a 4-year degree because of those reasons. But you did it in 3.75.
Yep.
Awesome.
I don't know why I didn't need to be in such a hurry. It was such a beautiful place to live, but I got it done.
Yeah, just get it done. That's all that matters. Get done, right?
Yep.
Just get done. And so you didn't stop there, right?
I did not stop there. After? So I lived there, but my family was still in Sacramento. Like I said, I'm from here originally, and I had made like great friends when I was there. But I had actually I TA'd at the university too my last semester, or my last quarter there. So I was kind of dipping my toe in teaching at that point too. But I ended up wanting to be closer to my family, so I moved back home. And for a couple years, I just took classes at ARC, honestly, just to take classes in things that I enjoyed. Like I took like music classes and art classes at ARC.
Because you already have your degree, and you can do that, right? Even though you have a degree, you can take any classes you want at the community college. They're open access. So
but,
you go ahead.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You became an ARC, a Los Rios district student.
I did, and the reason I did that was because I wasn't sure on the job stuff yet, and so my mom worked for the state, and she was like, you could be a student assistant at the state if you are taking classes. And so I took classes, and I actually through ARC, and then I went to Sac State. They had a building at the time that was University Enterprises, or a business that was University Enterprises, and they organized internships with Sac State students and state agencies. And so I worked for the state for a couple of years, and then decided that I didn't want to work in an office for the state at that time. I kind of wanted something more engaging, or just kind of up and around and moving more. And so I went back to Sac State. I applied to Sac State for their teaching credential program for single subject English, so teaching at the secondary level, middle or high school.
Got it. Because you need that credential to become a school teacher, right? Or a high school teacher with that single subject credential, you get to become, a high school teacher in whatever subject it is you're teaching, and you chose English. So you're
Exactly.
an English teacher.
I'm an English teacher. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. And so for those of you listening, there's single subject and then multiple subject. And I like to tell the people the difference is when you're working with the little kids, they don't change class teachers. You know what I mean? It's the same teacher. You got to do multiple subjects, right? You're also the math teacher, the English teacher, the art teacher, the history teachers, etc. Right? But once you get into like high school, the kids move, right, from period to period, right? And so you basically are the English teacher, and that's why it's a single subject teaching credential. And Sac State has a pretty enormous credential school of education credential office, and they got almost every credential out there. So there's more credentials than just those. But what Addie here has is that single subject teaching credential, which allows her to be a teacher at the high school level for English.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was a really great experience going through Sac State's teaching credential program. I met the teachers that I met in that program that were like part of my cohort, remain like really good friends to this day. I married one of them. So my husband and I met in the teaching credential program at Sac State. He's an art teacher.
Wow.
So
well, congratulations and thank God for Sac State.
yeah. Yep.
And so you also didn't stop there. I mean, now you're working,
No.
You're a professional, you're doing your teaching for years. And I recently heard you finished off your latest degree, which is?
Yeah, I just finished just this spring, so I can date myself a little bit, but I finished my undergraduate at UC San Diego in 2005. And then I finished my teaching credential at the end of 2007, so like December 2007. And then I went back to the high school that I went to and became an alumni teacher. So I worked at the high school that I went to and worked there for 16 years. And then decided like, I would like to I wouldn't say I was bored, but I kind of wanted to do more with my education.
You want to learn. People want to learn,
Yeah.
right? Why not learn more?
You know, in that time, I got married. I had a child. My son's almost 8. He's gonna be 8 in November. So like all those things, all those life things are happening in all those years. And then at the end of February of 2023, I reapplied to Sac State for their graduate program for a master's program in education, language, and literacy.
Got it.
I started in the summer of 2023, and then I just finished in the summer of 2025. So
wow.
Very recent.
Okay, so let's recap here.
Yep.
You after high school, because of high school and doing some of the advanced placement credits, starting college early, basically, while you're finishing high school, you're finishing some of these college classes. You then went to UC San Diego for about 3.75 years because of those AP classes. You were able to graduate just a little early there, so shaved off some time, saved a ton of money. Then you came back up north to Sacramento and you did a teaching credential program, a single subject teaching credential program. How much time did that take you? The teaching credential?
The teaching credential program was 1.5 years. So I started it in, I want to say like the fall of 2006. And then finished in December of 2007.
Oh, you were on fire. You became a teacher very young.
Yes.
Yes, like mid-20s. You're already teaching professionally, right? And then most recently you went back to finish off that master's degree, and so now you're a master's graduate student, master's degree holding.
Yeah, and actually, our master's degree gave us an extra credential, or we're getting an extra credential, and we're the first class to have it. So,
what credential is that?
It's called the Reading and Literacy Leadership Specialist credential. And so it's a new credential in California. They're trying to get more reading and literacy specialists in primarily early education. I just so happened to see a need for it in secondary. And so I went and got that master's, I'm getting that credential, and wanted to bring it back to my secondary level where
wow. So now you're going to end up with 2 credentials, a master's degree, 2 credentials, bachelor's degree, AP classes.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're just killing it,
Thanks.
literally. Okay, so now let's focus back on, parents, I know you're listening, students, I know you're listening, right? We got to shave off some cost of college. So you in particular chose one of these routes, right, that gives you early college credit. So in
Yeah.
high school, if and parents, you might have to look into this, students themselves as well, is you're going to be given an opportunity depending on the high school you go to. The bigger high schools kind of have more AP options than the really, really small high schools, right? So if you're at one of those medium-sized to bigger high schools, there's probably an AP program there that's quite comprehensive, which teaches a bunch of different subjects in advanced placement. And usually students start really getting into these classes later in high school, like junior, senior year. But nowadays they're starting them even earlier. So just because there's other options now than AP, but your choice was AP. Did you hear of any other choices in terms of dual enrollment or early college access?
So at the time that I was in high school, I don't feel like that was as common for dual enrollment. I want to say when I was going through school, it was like you could have like by your junior or senior year, you could have like a free period, and then you could apply to take a class at like Los Rios or a college nearby. But it wasn't really I don't think it was very advertised or very common.
Popular. Yeah.
Yep. But what it's have
still not that common. I mean, it's a lot more common than it used to be, but it's still, most people still are unaware of the different options.
I would agree. So last year, I didn't describe this as part of my journey, but it is part of my journey. I took a break from teaching while I was getting my master's, because it was just a lot to do and be a parent and be a partner and all those things and work. And so I took it's called an educational leave of absence, and I took a sabbatical year from my teaching position, and but I still wanted to work, and so I actually worked at Sac State last year, and I worked in their ACE office, which is Sacramento State's dual enrollment program. It's called Accelerated College Entrance, and so I learned a lot about the dual enrollment program that Sac State has, and I didn't know about it's probably been around since I was in high school, but I didn't know about it when I was in high school, so I didn't do any classes that way.
Yeah, it's about that exposure, right? That's why we're doing these videos, right? Yep. Because it's not just a one-time done. Let's keep listening to this, because there's different options for different people. There's more options now, like you're saying. There's ACE. There's regular dual enrollment through the Los Rios, and those of you that are listening, we've done other content on dual enrollment and how to take full advantage of dual enrollment. So check out some of those videos. We even have them in Spanish. So if you got a Spanish-speaking parent that wants to know more about how to get their kid doing that kind of stuff, definitely turn them on to that kind of that type of content. But in terms of AP, right? So you're a high school teacher in English. Yes. So. There's AP, I'm sure, English options at your currently at El Camino.
There are, yeah. I taught one AP class for a couple of years. It's AP Language and Composition, and it's not the test that I took in high school. We didn't have that class at our campus when I went to El Camino as a student. But there's two AP English classes, so AP Language and Composition, AP Literature and Composition. We have AP Seminar, which I believe students can take as sophomores, and it counts as an English credit. There's AP Research, which counts as an elective credit. We still have AP Calculus AB, and we also have Calculus BC. I want to say I know we have an AP Spanish class, but I think it's Spanish language instead of Spanish literature. I don't know if we do both anymore.
And so how would a student or how would a parent go about, like at your school, right, getting involved, getting their student involved, or if the student themselves wants to get involved, what would be one of the first steps they take to see if they're going to be eligible for that?
So I think what's really great about our campus is we did this program a number of years ago that was through I want to say they're like a consultant firm, but it was Equal Opportunity Schools, and they helped us work to remove barriers for people to take AP courses whenever they want. There used to be all kinds of you have to have a recommendation from your previous level, your previous level teacher in that subject, or you have to have earned a certain grade in that subject in order to take an AP class. And those were creating barriers for a lot of people having access to those classes. And so over time, we've just taken those away. And it's like, if you want to take the class and challenge yourself, take it, right? So students have the ability to sign up for whichever APs they want now. I would say a good place to start for students would be to meet with their counselor. So you're a counselor, but I think like meeting with a counselor is definitely a good step.
And ask, right? Just meet with them and ask, hey, what is AP an option, and what would you recommend? And and try to understand that it is more rigorous, right? Because at the end, you're expected to hopefully try and pass this test, which is a university level examination. And so those of you who want to challenge yourself, so if I have, like, say for example, some good Spanish skills and I want to refine them and make them even better, a good idea would be me to sign up, see my counselor, see if I can sign up for an AP Spanish class, right, where I'm going to be getting now a teacher for a year in that class to raise my Spanish skills to that level, to that university level, and then I'll have the option at the end to take that test.
Yeah, and we even have classes. We have for Spanish in particular, we have Spanish for heritage learners, which is like Spanish for students who
Chicanos.
They speak Spanish, they grew up speaking Spanish, but maybe sometimes they don't always have the same like literacy strengths that are needed for those tests. And so taking those heritage learner classes is kind of putting you on the path for the AP2, so that it's like you build those skills up in Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, and then take the AP exam by your third year or fourth year. So those are classes that exist now that didn't exist when I was in high school. So I think those are a really good benefit. The other thing I was thinking about for the AP pathway is listen to whoever has the information. I in my current role, I'm actually not working. I'm at the school again. I'm working at El Camino, but I'm here as a literacy coach. I'm not here as an English teacher. And so one of my roles on this campus is to work with English learners when they reclassify to fluent English proficient. And I had a meeting with a student a couple weeks ago who was reclassifying. He was like, wait, I don't have to take ELD classes now. And he was like, can I take AP classes? And I was like, yeah, you can take AP classes. What do you want to take? He's like, what do we offer? And so we were just meeting for one purpose, but I was like, I'm happy to look up this information with you and then recommend you to go talk to your counselor. So just trying to encourage students that if you have the ear of someone or you're talking to someone and you have the question, ask.
And it takes courage. It takes courage to ask, y'all. Those of you that are listening, we all had to go through this, right? Mm-hmm. Build up the courage to ask somebody to connect you, right? So they could, if you're there at your campus, they could ask you to connect you with the right person that could potentially get them through into some of these courses, etc. So you have to ask, because if you assume that us, because I'm an educator as well, you assume that we're out there just looking for things for you. I mean, we got 500 students we're dealing with today, right? And so things fall through the cracks. So we really, really want you to just muster up the courage, ask us a question, right? Mm-hmm. Ask us to point you in the right direction, and we'd be happy to. It's just a matter of you asking.
Yep, we have to be able to see the connections to make them happen. So if we don't have the questions coming to us, we don't always know.
Exactly. And so back to you. Okay, so you chose to take your AP in English. You chose to take your AP in Spanish language and Spanish literature. And was it the AP in calculus? Mm-hmm. Okay, so those of you that are listening, when you get to the university or you get to the community college, it doesn't matter. If you're going after a degree, right, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, half of your degree is general education. Mm-hmm. Okay, 10 to 15 different classes in different subjects. And so part of those classes, there's these requirements, called English composition, right? So your English language AP knocked out that requirement. So when you got to university, you didn't have to take that English class that all the other freshmen at the university had to take, right?
That's right. Yep, I didn't have to take that. And so then
the calc class knocks out your calculus, your mathematics requirement for general education.
It sort of did. So at the So UC San Diego has multiple colleges within UC San Diego. I don't think CSUs are so much like that, but if you go to UC campuses, they have like colleges that have names or they're numbered if they're newer. And the college I was in had 3 general ed math had like 3 math courses as the general ed requirement. So it knocked out one of the 3 classes that I had to take.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had to take more calculus.
Yes.
I
And you're right. And not to confuse the audience here, but, let's just say, a big university, they'll have the College of Business underneath the same university. They'll have the College of Education, the College of Engineering and Sciences, the College of Psychology and Social Behavioral Sciences. And they all, one university might name it after a person. Another university will call it the College of Business, but it's the same university. It's just the focused requirements for that big group of students that are in those majors. And so your major had 3 math requirements. What you're telling me.
So not my major, but the college
college
that I was a part of.
The department you belong.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was probably an easier college or department to be a part of for the major that I had, but the one that I had lots of math and science requirements.
But at least you got one of those credited and you only had to do 2 more.
That's right.
And then in terms of the Spanish, there's humanities requirements for general education, and Spanish, that's what it's a humanities requirement. So some of your general education requirements were automatically completed based off of these 4 AP exams that you got, and you earn the credit, right? You get unit credit. And so, for example, let's just guess you got 12 or 15 units towards your units that you need to graduate. Now, I'm not sure, like UC's, it's probably about 150 units or so that you need to earn a bachelor's degree. At CSU, at most CSUs, because they're semester schools, it's about 120. It ends up being the same. Doesn't matter what numbers we're throwing out there, right? You're gonna finish a set amount of units that's equal to about 4 years of full-time academic study, and those units knocked out a chunk of your total units needed for your bachelor's degree.
In fact, they did. Yep. So it was.
So what would you say are the primary things here that when you do AP, the first thing, once you pass those tests, you're immediately saving money? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I think there are some like misconceptions about for maybe particularly parents. I don't know if it's parents listening, but so I'd say one of the big misconceptions is that like AP feels cost prohibitive, especially if your student wants to take a lot of AP classes. So the AP exams are what costs money. Like the AP class itself doesn't cost any money because it's just part of the high school. But the AP exams usually cost around $100. And what I think most parents don't know is that sometimes there are waivers where those costs are reduced or free for certain situations. So that's one thing that I think people need to know, is that it's already like very cost beneficial, cost saving, because it costs a lot less to take that AP exam. If you pass it, it counts the same as one of those 3 unit classes, right? So if you pay $100 for the test, and then you, instead of taking the class to pay for 3 units, it's like $900 something. And so that's what you're saving money on right there. Is about a saving
and time,
$800, right? Yeah, totally. Right? Time.
If you got to do that class in college, you're going to put in, for that quarter, you're going to put in 50 hours of lecture and another probably 200 hours of study time.
Probably have to buy a textbook,
and the textbook's not going to be cheaper than $100. It's going to be more than $100 nowadays, because textbooks are super expensive, right? And so, I just imagine, I'm over here at Sacramento City College. One of my students told me my Spanish textbook costs $200 to $300.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, that's incredible, and so it does that $100 but even if you had to pay for the AP exam, that it's a $100 investment to save you not only say $1,000 at the university, but also the countless hours that you're going to save not having to take another class and do all the homework for that class, right? And the stress for that class on top of everything else.
Yeah.
Wow. So it is totally worth it.
It is worth it. I think that another like thing to consider though is that like I'm thinking like my son's not in high school yet, but I kind of monitor my feeling about this all the time, is that I'm like, you know, is he ready for that? Is he ready for that responsibility of that? And so like if I'm just kind of extrapolating him to when he's in high school and I'm thinking about him taking AP classes, I think that would be a question on my mind, is like, is he ready for an AP class? Is it too much responsibility too soon for him to be doing that? So I think what I love about AP is that you still get quite a bit of individualized attention for the subject that you're learning. So when I went to UC San Diego, when I was taking science classes or math classes, I was in classes of like hundreds of kids. Like we were in big lecture halls. There were hundreds of kids in the class. We also had like a section that we could go to where we would meet with a TA who might know us more personally and be able to help us more individually. But there's, you know, you feel more like a number in that situation. Like you feel like you're just like a person that the professor doesn't know and they don't care about your journey and your goals. And I think in high school, when you're taking these AP classes, you're with a teacher who still has a lot of students, but probably also still has more time to like know you and learn about you.
Absolutely. Oh yes, I totally agree with that.
Help you, right?
Yes. Like my high school teachers knew my name. None of my college teachers.
Right? So that's what I think about with AP classes too, is that it just feels it's a little more personalized at times compared to, you know, having to take it in college later.
And at the end, the student still has a choice. You don't have to take the AP exam. You still learned all of the learning. You know what I mean? You still put yourself through that rigor. You're ready for the next college level class, right? You don't have to take that test. If for whatever reason you decide not to do it, that's okay, right?
And
you're
it's
still going to get a grade in your AP class that you took.
And it's still on your transcript. And I'm not a college admissions person, but I imagine that they still see that and see like, oh, this student challenged themselves for a whole year, right? Or a whole block or whatever the school system is that they're coming from. The student challenged themselves for all that time. And no, they didn't take the exam, but they got a B in the class. Like their teacher thought they were, you know, worth this grade. So
that's right. And when you're talking about competitive admissions, all of those matter. It all matters is when you're going after these bigger schools that are much harder to get into because they just get so many more applications than everywhere else. San Diego being one of them. They get enormous amount of applications.
Because it's so beautiful there.
Yeah, who doesn't want to live there, right?
There's the beach.
Yeah. And then great schools. And then you add the great schools to it, and just like you're in heaven. So, you know, to give your student, or if you're the student, that competitive advantage, you know, it does matter signing up for those AP classes and doing the best you can to get the best grade you can. So again, if you run into that barrier of the cost, or you just decide not to do it for whatever reason, it matters being in that class. You did challenge yourself, and you're showing everyone else that you're challenging yourself and willing to take the challenge. Wow. And so what advice, you know, for any you know, parent, how can a parent, right? Because I'm a parent too. I got 3 kids. Most of my last one's a sophomore in high school. And so at the high school he's at, there's not a lot of AP exams. There's not a lot of AP classes. There's only about 3. And he just didn't want to go down that route. There's other options, parents, okay, students that are out there. He is doing dual enrollment, right? Dual enrollment through the high school where he's at. They teach a college level history class, right on campus. So it's part of his semester. It's part of his, you know, schedule that he goes 2 days a week to, you know, third period is going to be this history class that's offered through American River College. Right. And so, you know, there's that option as well. So if your high school doesn't have AP, or it's limited, they can do AP if it's available, and in addition do a class that's offered on campus through a program, like American River College, like what they do. If you're looking to talk to your high school counselor, looking to see if those programs exist. And then the third option would be, let's say your school doesn't offer any of that, right? You can still do dual enrollment without the high school, where you're kind of doing it on your own. And most high school students will take online classes at the community college because, you don't have to drive there. You don't have to deal with the commute. And then, you're in high school. Your job is being high school first, right? And by the time you get out of high school, you're limited to like evening level classes. So most of the high school students I work with is they just take online classes to the different community colleges that are in the area. So you really have about 3 different options, right, to really start racking up college classes early. But I love what you said, Adi, about the attention you get from that high school teacher. That I wasn't thinking about that much, but now I am. I'm like, you're absolutely right. The student will get the care, right, and the teachings that they need, that these other 2 pathways don't offer. These other 2 pathways, they treat you like a regular adult student, whether you sink or swim kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing that maybe parents would need to know about. If their children are doing a dual enrollment option, they might think like, oh, I'm still their parent, I'm still entitled to be able to see their grades and all of those things. But when your student starts taking dual enrollment classes and they start working at the community college or university, it's like that transcript is theirs, and you as their
have
parent
no
aren't
right
necessarily entitled to it anymore. So it is
and the
that
counselors won't tell you anything because it is FERPA. It's not. They're not gonna. They're the counselors and the staff at the colleges are. It's against the law for them to tell you anything as a parent of a dual enrollment student. So, when you're in AP, you're still part of the high school curriculum, which allows you to have conversations with teachers and counselors, with your minor student being there. Absolutely right. Adi, I want to say thank you. The insight that you provided us on AP, and especially on, the attention you get while you're in an AP class. Really now, people should reconsider all these different options, right? They're all difficult. They're all going to be rigorous, but there's some that nurture you a little more, right, before cutting you loose. And I think AP is that answer for quite a few students.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to know your student and their strengths and all of that. I think any, students are capable of doing these different paths. It just is kind of like, we have to know them and figure out what they're most ready for. So some of them really need that like nurturing, still need to be with my high school teacher. Sacramento State's dual enrollment program with ACE, it's got two options where it is partnered with high school teachers who teach the class. And then they have another one where students can do like the Los Rios program where they take classes online, or they come to Sac State's campus and take them with the college professors. And then Los Rios is generally like with the college professors, right? And the way it's at my school is like students enroll in that class and they might be assigned a period in their day and they just go and they can work on their coursework during that class. So it's just knowing your student and their self-reliance that they have, I guess, their level of self-reliance, and whether they can kind of do the thing on their own and time manage on their own, or whether they still kind of need a little bit of more supervision or more encouragement from a teacher that's at their school.
That's right. Well said. Well, Adi, thank you very much for the time. Your information, your journey is very, very influential for those young people out there that are looking to move into some form of education, right? Not only for themselves, or potentially even into becoming an educator. So thank you for your service as a teacher, El Camino High School, Mrs. S, I believe is what your students call you. So
right.
Again, thank you for the time. And
yeah, thank you for having me.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into Teco Guide, the app focused on bringing you tools and content to help you make better decisions about school, life, and career. We hope this episode has inspired you to pursue and excel in your own educational and career journey. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share.